Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to the session today, July the 28th. And obviously today we're going to start the unit number 2. The topic of the unit number 2 are adventurers. And here you are going to find all the contents that we are going to work into this unit. Into the grammar reference, we are going to talk about the past simple, continuous, and perfect. We are going to construct these structures into the narrative tenses. Into the vocabulary section, we are going to talk about travel and adventure, and we are going to find some nouns. We are going to do some interviews, and also we are going to have a conversation and also a review about traveling topics. We are going to start the first one, and obviously you have the reading activity. What a choice. Please, everybody, open your student book, page 18. Open your student book, page 18, please. Remember, you are going to complete in your student book. You are going to complete information in your student book, okay? So we have the first part of the activity. What a choice. Right now, you are going to listen. Right now, you are going to listen and you are going to pay attention because we have to work with the following task, okay? 1, 2, and 3.
What a choice! In May 1985, when American Tanya Abai was only 18 years old, she set out from New York in a 10-metre sailboat, Varuna, to sail around the world alone. Tanya had dropped out of college, and her father had offered her a challenge. He would either pay for her to go back to college, or he would give her a boat that she had to sail around the world on her own. Tanya had to choose. Even though she only had 2 years of limited sailing experience, she chose the boat. "Live for the day, Tanya, and always try to do great things," her mother advised her. It was raining when Tanya left New York, bound for Bermuda. She was actually crying as she waved goodbye to her friends and family. She was petrified. She had never sailed a boat alone in her life until then. 2 stormy weeks later, after she'd got lost and had finally taught herself how to navigate, she eventually arrived in Bermuda. Then, for the next 2.5 years, Tanya crossed the Caribbean, the South Pacific and Indian Oceans, the Red Sea, the Mediterranean and the North Atlantic, stopping in 23 countries along the way. It wasn't easy, to say the least. Among the problems she encountered were heavy seas and appalling weather, and having to cope with equipment that didn't function properly. While she was sailing through the Mediterranean, she narrowly avoided a collision with a tanker. Being alone for long periods of time was much harder than she'd imagined, too. But she did meet some wonderful people along the way and formed some very close friendships. During a stop-off in Vanuatu, she also met Olivier, the man who was to become her husband. It was also in Vanuatu that she acquired a kitten, Tarzoon, who ended up travelling with her for the rest of the trip. In November 1987, Tanya got back to New York. She was 21 years old, and she had sailed solo around the world, the youngest person ever to do so at the time. Tanya Abai has written that the journey changed her life. She discovered a lot about herself. She had set out as a teenager, but she came back an adult. She learnt about the importance of having a clear goal and committing to it, despite all the setbacks and in spite of being afraid. "I came back from my trip knowing what's really important to me, family and friends," she said, "and it made me a person who doesn't need things."
Okay, so in this case, you can see that we have the first part of the activity. In the next step, we are going to find the questions. Guess the answers to the questions, then read the article quickly to see if you're right. Here we have 4 questions. I need that you answer them, please, quickly. After reading, I need that you answer the questions. Number 1, what was the choice Tanya had to make? Question number 2, What were some of the problems she encountered? Question number 3. What were some of the good things about the trip? Question number 4. What did the trip help her to become aware of? Please, quickly, right now, in your student book, I need that you complete. Quickly, quickly, let's do it. Okay, now we are going to help you with the answers. Here we have some suggested answers to the questions. Here you have the question number 1, question number 2, question number 3, question number 4. Please copy or correct the information that you have in your book. Quickly, please, copy or correct your information. Let's do it quickly, quickly. Let's do it, let's do it. Okay, now we are going to continue with the next block of the reading activity. With the same structure, with the same reading for the same passage, you are going to read again. What a choice. And you are going to match. Choose the best answer according to the article. Statement number 1. Before she set off, Tanya had, you have 3 options. Option number 1, option number 2, and option number 3. Please circle the correct option for you. Let's do it quickly. Quickly, please. Circle. Sentence number 2. Tanya's mother, you have option 1, option 2, and option 3. Please select, circle the best option. Quickly, quickly, circle the correct option for you. Sentence number 3. Tanya had problems with option 1, option 2, option 3. Please, quickly, let's do it. Select the best answer. Question number 4. When Tanya got back, she, 1, 2, or 3. Select one of the options. Are you ready? Read again, and correct your errors, please. Read again and correct your errors. Let's do it. Let's do it, please. Okay, we are going to check the first answer. Okay, correct your errors. Number 2, correct your errors. Number 3, correct it. And number 4, okay, little selling experience, encourage her to face challenges. Both options are correct and had wound up significantly. As you can see here, you have encouraged, okay? Here we say grown up. Here we are using got back, referring to the past, okay? We say set off, and obviously we are talking about specifically the forms of the simple past tense, okay? Remember that in this unit, we are going to contrast this information, okay? Complete and correct in your student book. Complete and correct in your student book, okay? So in this case, we are going to work with the same article, and now we have the following activity, okay? Read the article. What role did the following people, places, or things played in Tanya's journey? When we talk about the role, what was the specific place that they were talking about, okay? So, for example, it says father, her father. In the reading, you are going to find what is the association with these people in her role in her life. For example, Tanya's father was the one who gave her the sailing boat. Here you are going to use the first clue, and you are going to have the figurative name, Tanya's father, and you are going to use was the one who. You can use that expression to complement the information. You have to continue doing exactly the same with the next form. New York, Bermuda, her mother, Oliver, and Tarzan. Please, quickly, I need that you make the sentences now. Make the sentences, write the sentences in your student book. Quickly, please, write the sentences in your student book. Quickly, quickly, let's do it, let's do it. Okay. So quickly, quickly, let's do it. Complete information. Now you are going to find some similarities. Tanya's father was the one who, attention to the structure, was the one who. Number two was the place, was the first place, was the person who, is the name who she met, is the name of the cat she acquired. As you can see here, we are using some of the expressions related to the past. We are making a relation between the simple past tense and the past perfect tense. And here we are narrating something. It's a narrative expression that we are doing with this. We continue with the next, okay? So complete, correct the errors in your books, please. Complete in your books and correct in your books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? Well, so in this case, we have some expressions, okay? Here we have some expressions that we are using according to this. What are the expressions that mean alone? When you are alone, you are in a solo role. You are in a solo mode in this case. And obviously here you are going to say on my own, on your own, by myself, by yourself, lone or solo. Those are expressions that mean alone. Remember, this block of words, when we are referring to this block of words, are expressions that mean alone, Lone is an adjective. Solo can be an adjective, a noun or a verb. Those are the expressions that we are going to use when you are indicating that you are alone in a solo model in this, okay? So using these words, we are going to correct the sentences according to this. Here you have the sentences, please. Page 19, in page 19, activity number 7, okay? Page 19, activity number 7. You have 5 sentences, okay? And you are going to correct the sentences, okay? Maybe you are going to use by my own, alone, okay? Which sentence in this case? You are going to correct the forms according to this, okay? We are going to talk about this, and here you have some of the answers that we were talking about them, okay? So here we are going to find some of the answers according to this, okay? Ready? We are going to find the first one. I like taking long walks in the country on my own. Those are the expressions that we are using, on my own, okay? That is the correction that we are going to do. By, it's incorrect. By is incorrect. What is the correct one? On my own. That is the correct expression. That is the correct expression that you are going to use. Continue with the number 2. Continue with the number 2, okay? In the number 2, we said across the USA. I solo drove, okay? Here, what is incorrect in this sentence, okay? And you said, I drove solo. I drove solo in this case. Here you say solo, okay? Pay attention, solo drove. That is incorrect, okay? You are going to say, I drove solo across the USA. Ready? Pay attention to the corrections. Pay attention to the corrections, okay? It's part of the vocabulary that you have. We continue with the next one. Okay? Says, I like to be by yourself, Here we have the incorrect form. Okay? And what is the correct form? You say, to be by myself, because you are talking about you, to be myself in this case. And that is the correct form that we have to use that, okay? We continue with the next exercise. And we said, I'm a bit of a lone wolf. Sometimes it's a bit of a lonely. You say a lonely wolf, but you said a bit of. You are expressing, you're using a quantifier. And you are using this quantifier. That's the reason why. Using the quantifier, you are going to turn into incorrect form, okay? You are not going to say because you are using the quantifier. And what is the correct expression? I'm a bit of a long. That is the correct expression that you are going to use to do this kind of activity, okay? Correct in your books, please. Correct in your books. We continue with the next exercise, and obviously we said these ones. Millions of records since he went solo. He went alone is indicating, in this case, when you said he went alone, when you are without the company of somebody. But in this case, we are talking about a singer. But when you are using the singer meaning, you said he went as solo. In this case, because it's talking about his professional career. In talking about the professional career, it's incorrect to say here went alone. Okay? What is the correct one that you are going to use? He went solo because you're talking about that. Please make the corrections. Make the corrections about the correct use of these expressions. Remember, on my own, I drove solo, I ate solo because you're the only one. By myself, when you are talking specifically about me or I in this case, a bit of lone wolf. A bit of is the quantifier that you are using, and that's the reason why you're using lone. And solo when you're talking about the professional career like the singer that you are using to do that, okay? Correct your errors, please. Complete the information, please. Complete the information in your answers. Let's do it. Quickly, correct information. Okay. Correct information, please, quickly. Okay. So after completing or correcting, we continue with the next block on this case. And now we're going to talk about the vocabulary. Travel and adventure. Travel and adventure. What is the topic that we are going to work here? It's about the words that you have here. In this section, you have some words about traveling, and you are going to use in this case, boredom, challenge, collision, dehydration, resort, dilemma, equipment, exhaustion, experience, exposure, flooding, frostbite, glacier, wall, isolation, journey, jungle, navigation, ocean, protection, setback, storm, sunburn, and voyage. Okay? Please, I need that you go to the Cambridge Dictionaries online, and make a list of these meanings, these words and meanings, please. You are going to make a list of these words and meanings. You can use the dictionary online. To help yourself, okay? So quickly, let's go. I need that you Google these words. Quickly, please. Google these words. Please, you are going to use a Word file. Use a Word file to copy and paste the English meanings. Okay, let's do it. That is the task that you're going to do now. Quickly, let's do it. Okay, let's do it quickly. Go Google, use a dictionary online, and I need that you find these words. Quickly, let's do it. Hurry up. Let's do it. Quickly, let's do it. Let's do it. Quickly, let's do it. Okay. So you are going to do this activity after this video. You are going to do it. You are going to use a Word file. And obviously you are going to make this, and I will check this information the next class. I will check this information the next class, okay? So you continue working with this. With these words, what we are going to do now? With these words, what we are going to do now, okay? We are going to match. In this case, we are going to make a relation between these words. We're going to make a relation between these words, okay? Which words can you match with each of the verbs below? Here we are going to have some compound words, these words that are connected with some verbs. We have avoid, cross, damage, encounter, enjoy, face, suffer from, okay? Please, those verbs are connected with these other words. And here we are going to work using those, okay? Pay attention. Here you have the students' own answers, but you are going to write some of them. You have avoid a collision, avoid a glacier, okay, cross the street, damage the damage the journey, encounter with this. You are going to find those words according to this. What is specifically you are going to do? Attention, what is specifically you are going to do? That is the second activity that you are going to do, okay? You are going to make a list of these verbs, that you are going to use according to this, okay? Avoid a collision, avoid a glacier, enjoy your journey, suffer from, for example, the irritation, encounter with people, okay? You are going to make a list. You are going to use the same word file. You are going to use the same word file, and obviously we are going to check the next class, okay? We're going to check the next class. Ready? So you are going to match these words using. Obviously, you are going to need the before activity, and you can match with this activity too, okay? Ready? 1, 2, and 3. With this vocabulary also, right now, we are going to match some of the activities. Here you have a text that you are going to read, okay? Choose the correct options to complete the test. Choose the correct options to complete the test. Here you have the reading and you are going to match, okay? 25-year-old Mark Beaumont from Scotland is the fastest person ever to cycle around the world. It took him 195 days and 6 hours. The 18,000 mile wasn't easy. Mark cycled about 160 kilometers a day, and he had to carry 81 kilos of including his tent. He only had 1 day off every 2 weeks. Mark had a few along the way. He got water poisoning in Iran and food poisoning in Pakistan. He had 3 collisions on his bike. He was by a donkey in Pakistan, a motorbike in India, and an old woman in a car in Florida. On top of that, he got locked up by police in Pakistan, was almost washed away by flooding in Thailand, and got in Louisiana. But Mark never considered After cycling through 20 countries, he finally crossed the finishing line at the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, having his goal of raising more than 15,000 pounds for charity. Okay, so here you have the information according to this. Please, quickly, I need that you read the information and select the correct verbs. Select the correct verbs or words. Verbs or words. Quickly, quickly, let's do it. Let's do it. Read again and select. Complete in your books. Complete in your books. Okay. Okay, here you have the words, okay? So, correct in your student book. Correct in your student book. Quickly, quickly, let's do it. Correct in your student book. Quickly, quickly. Copy and complete. Here you have the words that you were having into this. Those are the words that you were having into the first part of the activities. Topic 11. Topic 11. Attention to the topic 11, okay? Page 19, topic 11. Here you have some questions that you are going to discuss. You are going to give your personal opinion. Attention. You are going to have your personal opinion, okay, in a Word file. Okay, just give me a minute so I can take that. Okay, in a Word file, you are going to write your personal opinion. Your personal opinion. You're going to write your personal opinion, okay, about this, okay? You're going to write your personal opinion, and I need that you have the information. The next class, we are going to have a presentation with this information. It's important that you have the information that you got about it. Question number 1, question number 2, and question number 3. Ready? Remember that you are going to use the 3 questions. You are going to use a Word file to write your personal opinions or your personal answers. Okay, remember that we have 3 information that we are going to work in this, okay? Number 1, number 2, and now the number 3. We're going to stop here for a moment, and now we go to the grammar reference. We are going to talk about page 20, please. Page 20 in your student book. And now we go to the past simple, continuous, and perfect. We are going to contrast these structures. Here we're going to use the past simple, also the past continuous, and also the past perfect. Now we're going to make a review. Remember that the simple past refers to a past action. It doesn't give extra details about that. The past continuous is an action that is in progress. You're going to use was, were, and the verb with the ing form. And the past perfect, you are talking about 2 things that happen at different times. Sometimes we connect something that happened first. The past perfect make clear with the action that happened first. And you are going to use had and the verb in past participle form. Today, we are going to watch the following video, and obviously we are going to remember, and we are going to remember something about this. Attention, please, okay?
Past simple. Affirmative. I lived in Buenos Aires. Negative. I didn't live in Riga. Questions. Did you live in Athens? Short answers. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Past continuous. Affirmative. I was trying to sleep. Negative. I wasn't trying to sleep. Questions. Was I trying to sleep? Were you trying to sleep? Short answers. Yes, you were. No, we weren't. Yes, I was. No, I wasn't. Past perfect simple. Affirmative. I had been to Brazil before. Negative. I hadn't been to Brazil before. Questions. Had you been to Brazil before? Short answers. Yes, I had. No, I hadn't. Although, even though, though. Although, even though, and though are conjunctions. We use them before a verb plus subject. We can use them at the start of a sentence or in the middle. Although he was nervous, he never considered cancelling the trip. He never considered cancelling the trip, although he was nervous. Even though makes the contrast sound stronger, and the result sounds more surprising or impressive.
Okay, as you can see here, we are talking about some special connectors or conjunctions. Although that is obviously an expression that you contrast information, okay, that is impressive. Although he was nervous, you can be at the beginning or in the middle of the sentence. Aunque, although, that is the expression, although, aunque, that is the meaning in Spanish that we have on this, okay? Sometimes also you can use even though, aunque, okay? Although or even though is stronger about that.
Even though I'm scared of dogs, I agreed to look after my cousin's Rottweiler for the weekend.
Okay? Although, aunque, even though, similar to this, sin embargo, also that you said. Although, aunque, or even though, sin embargo, both have a similar meaning to do in this case.
We often finish a sentence with though when we respond to someone with a contrasting idea. Burgers are so bad for you. They are nice though. We often start a response with even though when we hear something very surprising. Dan is going to walk to the North Pole. What? Even though he hates the cold weather? Despite, in spite.
Okay, remember that here we have the expression do. Do is to confirm something. It's always at the end of the sentence, okay, because you are contrasting idea. Bueno, peor es nada, that is that, okay? Those is the Spanish meaning. To, así que, okay? That is like to confirm, to affirm the sentence that is. And you're going to use at the end. Even though, remember that even though can be at the beginning or also can be in the middle part of the sentence. We continue with despite or in spite of. A pesar de, despite or in spite of, that are exactly the same, but pay attention to the use.
Of. Despite and in spite of are prepositions. They mean the same and are used in the same way. In spite of is slightly more formal. We use them before a noun or an ing form to say that a situation contrasts with another, but didn't prevent it. Despite the rain, we had a fantastic time at the beach. My brother loves living in Scotland in spite of the bad weather. I decided to learn to sail, despite being afraid of deep water. In spite of not speaking Spanish, Gemma went to work in Peru. Where a situation contrasts with another, and has a different subject, we put that subject between despite, in spite of, and the ing form. I had a great weekend, despite my dad forgetting my birthday. In spite of the bus being late, I got to work on time. We often use despite the fact that, in spite of the fact that. You were late, despite the fact that I asked you specifically to arrive early today.
Okay, so despite and in spite of, a pesar de, both are exactly the same. What is the only difference? Despite the rain is a noun, or in spite of the bad weather. You can use in spite of and connect with a noun. But be careful, despite, when you despite connect with a verb, the verb should have ing form. That is the only thing that you have to use. Of not, this is the negative, in spite of not speaking. That is the negative form. Pay attention to that rule. Also, we can use, in this case, despite the fact that, or in spite of the fact that. And you are going to connect with a noun and a verb. Those are the expressions that we have in the past simple, past continuous, past perfect. And here we have the connectors or the conjunctions that we were having according to this. With this information that you have in this unit, we are going to work the next activities. Page 20, activity number 1. Page 20, activity number 1. You are going to complete a test with the form of the verbs in parentheses. Remember, simple past, past progressive, or past perfect. You are going to read the information according to this, okay? In the parentheses, you have the verbs. Quickly, let's do it. Let's do it. Complete. Okay. A real adventurer. Okay. Pay attention to the first one. Was born. Became. Read. Dreamed. Didn't make. Was working. Got. Scared. Had recovered. Decided. Had already learned. Caught. Traveled. Had been. Had ever been. Had written. Died. Okay. Correct your errors, please. Correct your errors. Correct your errors, please, quickly. Complete in your books. Complete in your books. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Activity number 2. Activity number 2, page 20. Okay. Write out the sentences in full. Use the past simple and past continuous. Use when and while. Remember that in basic courses, remember that when connects with the simple past, while connect with the past continuous. That is the difference, and remember about that. That was when we were in 10th grade, remember, and you were going to use. And here you have the prompts, okay? Here you have the prompts. Quickly, read and complete. Connect the past simple and the past continuous using when or while. Let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. Okay. Tanya was crying when she waved goodbye to her family. Okay, you have the answers now. Read the sentences, please. Read the sentences. Make the connections. Met while was staying. Was sailing when collided. Got frostbite while she was walking. Was rollerblading when a car crashed. Okay, did you see? You are contrasting. When you contrast, in this case, remember, when connects simple past and while connects the past continuous. Please write, complete, correct the errors, please. Okay, complete in your books. Quickly, quickly, complete in your books. Okay. That is the form that we have in the activity number 2. Activity number 3. Page 20, activity number 3. Combine the sentences using the past simple and the past perfect. You have in the parentheses, you have the connector that you are going to use. And you are going to connect the two ideas. We have the examples. Tana's father offered her a challenge after she had dropped out of college. After she had dropped out, you are going to identify if the connector is going to use the past simple or the past perfect. Before. Pay attention. Before she set out, comma, she had sailed only a few times. Remember that before connects, in this case, the simple past tense. And the comma separates that. Remember that the past simple talks about a prior activity. Okay, we continue with the number 3. When is the connector? When is the connector and represents the simple past tense? When Mark Dumont crossed the finishing line, comma, he had cycled through 20 centuries. Remember that when connects the simple past tense. Number 4. Because the reason of Ronald Beans cut off his fingertips himself using a saw, comma, because he had got frostbite. He had ghost. Remember that the reason that you are giving is an after situation. And because it's an after one, it's a later action, we're going to use the past perfect tense. The last sentence, number 5. You are going to use once. Once he had recovered from a heart attack, comma, he ran 7 marathons in 7 continents. In this case, once it's indicating one activity and it only refers to the simple past. That's the reason that you say that both sentences are into the simple past tense. But remember, he says, once he had recovered. Once properly promotes about the simple past tense. But in this case, we said once he had recovered. We are talking about a before activity, a before action, had recovered, comma, he ran 7 marathons in 7 countries. Those are the expressions that you are following and using to talk about this. Please complete in your student book, correct that errors, please. Complete in your student books. Quickly, let's do it, okay? Correct the errors. Let's do it. Okay. So here we have those activities. Remember that also we were talking about even though, although, in spite of. To contrast, but doesn't prevent it, okay? Even though or although are almost the same. Remember, despite or in spite of, in spite of, or despite. Remember, if you are connecting of, you are going to use with the verb with the ing form, okay? Remember the reference that we were talking about that. We are going to finish this activity. We're going to finish this activity and we are going to write sentences with that similar meaning to the first. Similar meanings to that, okay? We are going to connect the ideas. We're going to use even, despite, although, in spite of, or even. Okay, you are going to connect the expressions. Remember, a similar meaning to the first. A similar meaning to the first. We have the first option. Despite the rain, comma, I had lunch outside. Rain, it's the noun. Despite the rain, I had lunch outside. You have to be careful with this. Remember that that is the action. And obviously here we have the action number 2. You say, despite the rain, I had lunch outside. A pesar de. That is despite the word that we have in this. We continue with the next one. Okay. Although they protested, the babysitter made the children go to bed at 9 p.m. Although, in this case we said although, in spite of their protestations, okay? So, in this case we're using although, a pesar de, in this case, although they protested, you are going to use, in this case, the form of the verb, and you're doing exactly the same. The babysitter made the children go to bed. The second sentence haven't had a variation. Remember, when you say the similar meaning to the first, using the word in bold, you are going to make some little variations in the first one. We continue with the next expression, number 4. Even though he was nervous, he gave a really good performance in spite of. This is really, really simple in this case, easy. Remember that we were talking about he was, okay? And yours says in spite of. Remember the verb to be, in spite of, and you're connecting the verb with the ing, nervous. He gave a really good performance, okay? We continue with the number 6. They managed to get in even though the security was tight. Here, in this case, we are using even, and you have in spite of. What is the synonym for in spite of? Even though. And that's the reason that you are connecting the two activities. What is the only difference? To get even though the security was tight. That is the difference that we are going in this case, because you have to rearrange the words according to the meaning. Okay? Please correct, complete in this case. Completing your books quickly. Completing your books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So here you have the information about these ones and obviously about this. In this section, we finish this part. We make the conclusion to this. And obviously you are going to complete, okay? Remember that you have the activities in the platform, complete information in the platform, and also you have in the test section, you have on, remember that it's going to be on Thursday and Friday, that you have available the test section for that. Hasta aquí hemos llegado. Por favor, no olviden que tienen las actividades en la plataforma. Tienen la asignación que vence al día viernes y la pueden cerrar hasta el día domingo. Recuerden que el jueves les cae la asignación del test section. Recuerde, por favor, que tiene que trabajarla entre jueves y viernes. 3, recuerde los arreglos que ha hecho la plataforma. Usted tiene en asignaciones, usted tiene 2 intentos. El segundo intento, sea cual sea la nota que tenga, es la que le va a resaltar en la plataforma. Es decir, que si en el primer intento tuvo más y en el segundo intento tuvo menos, el segundo intento es el que se va a quedar. En lo que corresponde a los tests, por favor, recuerden que en el test usted tiene que respetar el envío. Recuerde que tiene que hacer el submit dentro del tiempo estipulado que le tiene la actividad. Por favor, no tenga abiertas las actividades, ni de las asignaciones, ni los del test demasiado tiempo. Usted cree que envía, pero la plataforma se inhibe. Una vez que usted abre las actividades, usted realícelas. En los assignments, en las asignaciones de tareas, usted puede ir y venir. No hay ningún problema mientras no las deje latentes tanto tiempo, pero en el test usted no lo puede hacer. Así que, por favor, trabaje dentro de los tiempos indicados. No deje abiertos demasiado tiempo la plataforma en stand-by porque se le va a inhibir. Las notas ya están sacadas, ya las voy a publicar, Dios mediante, el día de mañana en Educalink. Por esta vez he puesto a todos los estudiantes que han trabajado en la plataforma. He tomado la nota que tienen en la plataforma y obviamente he colocado los 3 puntos que me da la rúbrica del Ministerio de Educación. A todos los he congratulado. Más, porque todos han tenido la oportunidad. Ojo, no es que le estoy poniendo 10 a todos. Lo que usted sacó en el final, en el total, en el final de la plataforma que le sale en el score, ese valor obviamente está potenciado a 10 y obviamente representa un porcentaje de lo que es la rúbrica y le estoy adicionando los 3 puntos en función de eso. Cuando vean ustedes las notas las van a entender y obviamente se van a dar cuenta del beneficio que le estoy dando a todos por el primer parcial. Porque cambiamos de profesor, porque hemos cambiado la temática, porque nos hemos atrasado, porque algunos no compraron el libro, porque no sé qué, porque no sé cuánto. Entonces yo creo que siendo un poquito injusta tal vez con aquellos que han hecho todo a la par, pero yo creo que se están manteniendo los puntajes de la plataforma y que no les afectan a ninguno. Por este primer parcial les he dado mi ayuda a todos para que obviamente todos puedan arrancar con buena letra. Hay algunos estudiantes que no tienen el texto todavía. Por favor, se les está acumulando una gran cantidad. Se le va a volver una bola de nieve por más de que yo lo espere, pero será interminable. Así que, por favor, rapidito manejen las cuestiones de los textos para que puedan ingresar a la plataforma. Listo, no los canso más. Esta vez los dejo. Trabajen, revisen la información, por favor, y nos vemos la siguiente semana. Mil disculpas que no voy a poder estar con ustedes de manera sincrónica, como me encanta trabajar con ustedes. Tuve que hacer este video vista que tuve problemas con el proveedor de internet y obviamente me lo comunicaron a tiempo, por eso estoy haciendo, haciendo uso de mis megas del celular en este video para que ustedes no se me atrasen. Así que por favor vean el video y obviamente completen la información que tienen. La próxima semana nos vemos y obviamente revise todo y que obviamente vamos a trabajar. Tienen en el documento de Word que les he mandado a hacer algunas actividades. Necesito ese documento de Word la próxima semana porque con ese documento vamos a trabajar. ¿Ok? Bye, babies. See you. ¿Ok? Have a nice weekend. Start working with that. ¿Ok?